Hey guys, hope everybody's doing good today, tonight, whenever you're watching this. I haven't really uploaded to this channel here in a while, which I apologize for. I don't normally upload to this channel much, but anyways, beside my point. I wanted to get on here and just talk about something that really caught my attention, because I grew up listening to Lil Jon. I was a massive fan of Lil Jon and the East Side Boys growing up. I'm 27 years old. I was born in 1998, and Lil Jon was definitely big in the 2000s. I absolutely liked his music. My mom would always blast his music every chance she could because she absolutely loved Lil Jon. But Yeah, beside my point, so a few days ago, word got to me that his son had went missing. This was a post that I stumbled across on Facebook, I think 2 or 3 days ago, um, where Lil Jon's son, DJ Young Slade, was reported missing in Georgia. And, I ended up sharing this because, normally when I hear about people going missing, no matter where it is, I always try and share that information because you never know when some people can be found states away. And, it's something that I try and do every chance I can, because sometimes people are found quite a ways away from where they were reported missing. So, while there are some people out there that do end up being found safe and sound, that unfortunately was not the case for Lil Jon's son. According to San Francisco Chronicle, uh, Lil Jon's son was found dead near Georgia home days after disappearance. The body of rapper Lil Jon's son was found this week in a pond near his home in suburban Atlanta, days after he was reported missing, police and his family said. The news comes as Lil Jon is scheduled to bring his son tour with Pitbull to the Bay Area this summer. Nathan Smith, 27, who performed and produced music under the name DJ Young Slade, was last seen running out of his home in Milton, Georgia, about 30 miles north of Atlanta, Tuesday, February 3rd. Police said officers were called to the residence around 6 a.m. and that Smith may have been disoriented and in need of assistance. His body was discovered Friday, February 6th, near the home. Authorities said foul play was not suspected. The medical examiner will determine the official cause and manner of death. Lil Jon, whose real name is Jonathan Smith, confirmed his son's death in a statement posted on Instagram, which I will show you guys the statement here shortly. I am extremely heartbroken for the tragic loss of our son Nathan Smith. His mother, Nicole Smith, and I are devastated. He wrote, Nathan was the kindest human being you would ever meet. He was immensely caring, thoughtful, polite, passionate, and warm-hearted. He loved his family and the friends in his life to the fullest. He was an amazing, young, talented man, a music producer, an artist, an engineer, and graduate of NYU. The statement continued, we loved Nathan with all of our hearts and are incredibly proud of him. Bay Area audiences may know Lil Jon for chop-tarting hits like Turn Down for What and Yeah, as well as frequent appearances at Warriors games. He is scheduled to perform with Pitbull on June 7th at Shoreline amphitheater in Mountain View. It was not immediately clear whether his tour plans would change. Smith was a visible figure in the Atlanta hip-hop scene with numerous tracks online and recent appearances alongside major artists. Milton Police said the case remains open and active and asked the public and media to respect the family's privacy. These are the posts that were on Instagram, and they're also on his Facebook page as well, Lil Jon's Facebook page. These were already included in the article, so I don't think I need to. Well, I don't think this one right here was read in the article, but I'm gonna read this out to you guys in case if it wasn't. Thank you for all the prayers and support and trying to locate him over the last several days. Thank you to the entire Milton Police Department involved, Detective Dula Milton, investigators, Sergeant Scott Lappin, Detective Randy Dula, Detective Sarah Moore, and Detective Daniel Williams, Sandy Springs Police Department, Fulton County Sheriff's Office, Haralson County Sheriff's Office, Cherokee Fire Department, Forsyth County Fire Department, Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, Georgia K-9 Team Search and Recovery, and multiple volunteers, as well as the Milton Fire Department and Cherokee Rescue and Dive Team, and Craig Braisman from Lil Jon and Nicole. I apologize if I said some of these things wrong. Some of these were kind of tongue-twisting. But with all that being said, it is a pretty sad situation. My heart absolutely aches for Lil Jon and his wife. I don't really know if Lil Jon has any other kids or not. But for everybody that cared for Lil Jon's son, my heart goes out to them big time. It is a sad situation, and I would never wish for anything bad to happen to anybody, especially their kids. It is pretty sad. I couldn't imagine losing a kid like that. I don't have any kids myself, but I tell you what, if I did have a kid and something like that happened to him, I would be extremely devastated too. That's for sure. Regardless of whatever happened prior to his son's death, regardless of what his son did or anything, I mean, nobody deserves that. I don't know if there was anything that his son was going through prior to this situation, but even if there was, that's not something to be talked about right now. That's something we could probably bring up at a later date, but for now, even then, I mean, at this point, you gotta feel for Lil Jon and his wife, That's for sure. Again, Lil Jon, I'm sorry to hear about what happened to your son. You're probably never gonna watch this video, but if you do, just know that I'm terribly sorry for your loss, man. I really am. My thoughts, hopes, and prayers go out to you, your wife, and everybody else that cared for your son. That's for sure. But, yeah. Be sure to hug your loved ones, man, because you never know when things like this can happen, Whether or not things were going on prior to him doing what he did, I don't know. But like I said, I'm not trying to make that a subject matter either, because at this point, it really doesn't matter. Lil Jon lost his son. and Lil Jon is hurting from this right now. You know, there were videos that surfaced of a dive team, uh, you know, searching a pond area and, you know, where they found his body. I'm not going to show that video, you know, just out of respect for Lil Jon. You know, I didn't watch the entire video, but, you know, I don't think it showed them pulling their son out of the pond, but even then, it's just something that's disturbing whether or not they show it happening. You know, I'm not going to show things like that on this channel, or in this video for the matter, you know. I'm sure there's news medias that are probably going to be showing videos like that where the dive team is searching the pond, but, you know, still. Again, Lil Jon, I've said this a few times and I'll say it again, but like I said, you know, my thoughts and prayers go out to you and your wife. It's not something I would ever wish to happen to anybody. You know, may God be with you guys, and may God be with those who are hurting from this right now. You guys all take care and be safe.